Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube. Welcome to Jibber Jabber. I'm your host, as always, Skajaramas, otherwise known as Tone Shift. With me today, we have a pretty small-sized crowd, but hey, small just means fewer people to talk over each other. First and foremost, just going down the list, we have Lumina.
Hello.
Yep. Next up, we have Darkness in the British corner.
Pleasure to be here, as always.
Yep. Standing in the background and staring into your soul, I suppose, is Paladin.
Stairs.
And last but not least, we have Tom117Z, also in the British corner, who is currently deafened and muted.
Dots.
Undeafen, you British twonk.
My fellow Brit.
Are you undeafened now, you British twonk? There you go.
Welcome.
I was watching the end of the episode.
Okay.
Cutting it short, I see.
Trolling.
So, how's everyone's week been?
It was exhausting.
Okay.
Pretty shitty and stressful, but now okay.
Hold on, mucus in my throat.
Okay.
Wait. Sorry about that. Anyways. So, before we get into the topics we have for today, of which there are three, as usual, there are a few quick points I want to go over first, just reiterating some stuff from the last couple weeks. As you'll remember, we didn't do Jibber Jabber last week, and I neglected to mention why, mostly just because all of 2 people showed up, and that was not sufficient for a good episode of Jibber Jabber.
No.
There will be no FFD6 recap this time because we didn't play this week or last week. So you're all as caught up as the rest of us.
Yep.
Let's see here. Just as a quick reminder to everyone, my reading of A Sparkle in the Darkness is officially concluded. The last chapter and epilogue should be going up on Monday and Tuesday. And starting tomorrow, I will be beginning my reading of My Battery is Low and It's Getting Dark. So just a quick reminder of that. A bit more of a light-hearted story revolving around the Opportunity Rover. Nice little homage to that awesome little machine. One more thing I need to bring up real quick. While I haven't decided when I'm going to start up beyond probably November at the latest, is I have a new reading lined up that I'll be doing for Thursdays and Fridays. Those of you who may remember far enough back, I talked about how I was part of a full-blown like multi-actor audiobook project for Empty Horizons. That kind of fell through because a lot of the voice actors kind of fell to the wayside or dropped off the face of the earth, and the person managing it, the author of the stories, just did not have the time or experience necessary to organize such a large-scale project. And so the duty to that has fallen exclusively to me, and I'll be starting that sometime within the next month. Not exactly sure when, but you'll be aware of it at least a week in advance because I'll put a trailer up. So there's that out of the way. And one last thing I want to touch on before we get into our pre-ascribed topics, just a reminder for everyone who may be curious, I'm accepting fanfiction reading commissions now. I won't go into explicit details here. I posted a video about that already. There's a link to a document that goes into more details as well in the description. It's just part of my upload defaults now, so you can always find that. Always, it's right there. And I don't think I have anything else, any other specific news topics to get to, so we can just get straight into the topics for today. First of which is the new episodes. Episodes 22 and 23 of Season 9.
AKA, Lyra Bond ties the knot.
Yeah, I totally missed that. I totally missed that was a thing that happened.
Yeah, in the background, Lyra pulls out a ring first, and then Bonbon follows up.
Well, good for them. But that's 23. We got to talk about 22 first, the one where the CMC ate 1-up mushrooms. Or red dotted mushrooms. I don't fucking know. Mario references, I fail at them.
You can sum up the episode by going, "Fucking kids."
Yes, that is how you can sum up the episode. But we don't just sum up episodes here now, do we? No, we don't. So, Same format as usual. We'll just go from left to right for everyone on screen. Who all here has seen the episode where the CMC briefly grow up?
Sorry.
I've seen it.
Yes.
No.
All right, so
But
darkness.
Yes.
All right, so darkness.
I've seen it.
Okay, so darkness is the only one who hasn't. All right.
Guilty
He
as
doesn't.
charged.
He doesn't watch the show, so it kind of is a moot point.
Wait, he doesn't?
I thought we already. Okay.
I must have missed that. All right.
I mean, he's not a brony.
But this is news to me. What the fuck is he doing here then?
We've talked about this multiple times. Every time, go, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like this is a repeat thing for you.
No, this is the first time I've talked about this. I promise you.
No, it's not. I recall very exclusively multiple instances of like us pointing that out, and every single time you're surprised.
Well, it's because if you're not a brony, then what the fuck are you doing here?
That is a long story.
You'll have to tell it sometime because now I'm confused. But anyways,
Because he has friends in this chat.
okay.
You know, friendship is magic. So move
Season
on, Brian.
9, episode 22. So I'll go first. I liked it personally, although like my favorite part was definitely the designs for grown-up CMC. Those were great, and I especially liked Sweetie Belle's, but Sweetie's always been my favorite of the CMC personally. She seems to be the most reasonable of the bunch. I liked it overall. There was definitely a lot of fun to be had. Although at points I found how quickly they got swallowed up in the "we're grown-ups, we can do whatever we want" mentality to be a bit, guys, you're idiots. It bugged me, but not a lot. More often than not, it was just like secondhand embarrassment because, like, yep, that's totally shit kids would do.
I can understand their the whole we're adults, we can do everyone. Because I remember being a kid and thinking, oh, adults know everything and can't do anything, and yeah, that was wrong.
Yeah, very, very wrong. Adults know less than kids, it turns out, and can do less because real life dictates it. Oy vey. But overall, it was a fun time. The shenanigans were interesting. That tornado thing was really cute when it got smaller. I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but it was a cute creature. I liked that. And
I call it a tornado dog monkey.
the tornado dog monkey. Thank you. Yes, it was much fun. Lumina, your thoughts on it?
It was a cute episode. The CMC did feel like they took a step back, but overall, very cute episode. It was nice to see the CMC grown up for once.
Their adult designs. Nice.
Yeah, I think my favorite was probably Scootaloo's design.
Still chicken wings.
I find it interesting that her wings were still, little.
Well, I guess
Even
that
if
well, I mean, I guess that just means that she's always going to have small wings, or should I say, little wings? Eh? Eh?
You. Wow.
Home. Paladin, go.
Kind of funny that they're like, "Oh, hey, if you guys need us, just come find us." And then they just run off. And every time they needed them, they just pass by.
Yeah.
It's like,
They were basically kids pretending to be adults, but they were still just there to have fun at the fair themselves. So, yeah. If you need help, come find us. Turns out they had the curse of vanishing.
They missed out on the part where when adults come to the fair with kids in tow, the adults aren't the ones that
You're cutting out
have
a bit.
responsibility. Basically, they forgot responsibility exists as adults.
But... Even though they kind of run a mini business in the form of helping ponies with their cutie marks.
Yeah, but they that's just what they do for fun. They've never really had to do a responsible thing that doesn't involve having fun in the process. It's a life lesson they had yet to learn, and they've learned it by being
stupid. It just occurs to me. When they wished to become adults and grown-ups so they could do whatever they want. A funny alternate scene to the flower that granted that wish would be the petal to dissolve and like just a misty pony comes out and tells them, "Your wish is stupid," and just slaps all of them and fucks off.
Also, they are 100% grounded. Not only for the chaos they did, but also for wasting a one-of-a-kind magical artifact on dumb stuff. That's what will be annoyed.
Indeed.
Get wishes, waste them.
But yeah, it was fun. Now let's see here. Okay, and Tom, you.
Tell us your one-off.
Well, no, we're still doing MLP stuff.
And then then it's the one-off love stuff that you might actually guess in a bit. And then, of course, your Adventures of Crimson. But
Yeah, I liked the episode. It was good seeing CMC grown-up designs. I noticed all of their voices were the same, exception of Sweetie Belle, who was very noticeably deeper, even more so than she's become throughout the show. She used to be super squeak, if you recall.
Yes, we remember how squeaky she used to be. I can't even do it. I'm a dude.
You never really noticed it, like just watching it as we go on. But if you like look back, you can notice a lot of differences.
Well, I mean, that's what happens. Like when kids grow up, you don't really notice in the moment. It's not until you look back, like a few seasons, like, oh shit, they actually changed a lot. Holy crap, they grow up so fast.
How did her voice not incinerate? But yeah, still, I can understand like their perspective of like what being an adult means, because I remember that from being a kid myself, and really they just haven't gone through the life lessons yet to actually know how to be an adult, and they should probably just enjoy being kids with it.
Like Twilight said, probably important to not skip any of it.
Yes, and as I said, they were all 100% grounded.
Oh yeah, totally. Even though they're probably like getting close to being in their teens at this point.
I think they're probably around 12, 13. Anyway.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, those other falls are into probably like 14, 15, if pushing 16.
Anyways, so let's see here now. Then, then there was the most recent one, the one that aired just yesterday, 23, the Big Mac question, and oh boy.
The episode before the finale.
Yep. So, since this one only came out yesterday, there's a good chance not everyone has seen it yet. So, spoiler warning for episode 23. This one wraps up one of the subplot arcs the show's had going for a few seasons now with Big Mac. So,
and the background subplot we already mentioned.
Yep. Which I still don't know how I missed that, but whatever. I only watched it like 2 hours ago.
I watched it 10 minutes ago.
But anyways, so it was an interesting blend of stuff. It was a very fascinating blend of comedy, and actually like general thought-provoking and heartfelt shit, like all over the place. And I definitely really liked it. The only part I could say I didn't necessarily like all that much. I don't even necessarily think there are any parts I disliked. Pretty much, I just had a brain fart. I'm sorry. Hold on.
You are forgiven.
It's a live blooper. People feel, I don't know, grateful.
Okay, there you go. But so the only part of the episode that felt lesser to me would probably have to be Discord's attitude for some of it. Largely in that, I mean, it's a very Discord thing to do, to try and find the quick solution to a problem without fully grasping like the emotional depth and nuance of the situation. I get that that's a very Discord thing.
That's the thing.
But it just
Discord, like he absolutely does not understand romance, even if he has implied feelings towards Fluttershy. He doesn't even understand them, which is why he's unlikely to act on them.
Yeah, he doesn't understand it, though I would hope that he would at least have gained a bit more of an understanding, because I mean, I think it's safe to assume that if again, spoiler warning, if the whole premise of the episode is Big Mac and Sugar Belle proposing to each other and getting married, that would imply that those two have been together for a while now, because neither of them seems like the sort to rush into things, especially with Big Mac being the sort of slow, plodding guy he is.
Yep.
Yep, yeah, exactly. So, so it occurs to me they've probably been together for a while at this point, and with Discord being as tight-knit with Spike and Big Mac as he is, it just occurs to me that he'd probably have become a bit more aware of the nuances at play there, even if he didn't personally get them. I would have thought he would at least be aware of them.
That's assuming that he had much to do with or was particularly paying attention to what's going on with them at all, aside from just meeting up with Big Mac for O&O sessions.
Yeah, I suppose that's a good point. Still. But it just feels like they're...
It's probably more like he knows they're together. Occasionally Big Mac would talk about it. He would probably zone out like, why is he talking about that? I don't understand. Anyway, chaos.
Yeah, that's probably what it amounts to, I suppose. Still, it just rubbed me slightly the wrong way, but it's not a big deal. It's not even necessarily a problem. It's just a slight thing I noticed. The rest of it, though, was fantastic. A lot of comedy, two separate sides to one specific story that was told between, like, the commercial breaks. A lot of fun, and the ending, like, the whole set of ending scenes, like, in front of the intertwining trees there, heart punch. Just punch to the heart. Ripped it out. Loved it. Lumina, you, go.
Discord is the pot calling the kettle black.
Oh.
If ever there was a pot calling a kettle black, it would be him.
For someone who borders the fourth wall sometimes, even if to a lesser extent than the Ponk, he is extraordinarily lacking in self-awareness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Any other thoughts on it, other than that?
Luna? Well,
Silence has fallen.
to get the new.
It has.
I can only assume that something happened on her end because she's been having issues periodically with microphone stuffs. The last 2
Same
weeks.
here.
So we're like, she'll just randomly cut out. It's a problem I've been having too, where in certain voice chats, my mic will just suddenly cut out for everyone else, and I'll have to exit the call and come back in, or it won't work, and it's very frustrating. And I wish Discord would fix it.
But it's still better than the phone version.
I wouldn't know. I don't use mobile apps because I'm not a fucking scrub.
You are
Anyway.
lucky.
Shots fired.
Back to the
Yes,
episode.
shots fired.
One joke.
Paladin, have you
Yeah.
seen it?
What? I couldn't hear you over darkness.
Have you seen it? The new one, episode 23. The one
Yes,
with
I have.
your thoughts on it?
Jeez. It was a laugh, I can tell you that. Especially with how Discord played his part in setting it up.
Tried to, anyway.
Tried to, yeah.
Granny Smith.
With the apples, which seemed to somehow morph into a bigger apple.
Because they scored.
Granny Smith, Star Trek.
Yes, that's what I
Yes.
want to talk about. That
Okay.
where she starts directly referencing like the Star Trek actors in the show and their roles. Star Trek. This
It's funny because William Shatner.
he was just the same.
Skew. Oh my god. They even
But no
briefly had the
calm?
Star Trek motif in there for a moment.
And then when it came to introducing the apple, they did a Jurassic Park.
I mean, ground shaking, big thing stomp. That's hardly original to Jurassic Park, but yeah.
No, I meant the
Welcome
water
to
bucket.
Jurassic Apple.
They were all acting really scared of it. Even Discord from like Discord. Oh yeah, right. Fixed fingers gone. So you can do that. Even oh yeah, I can do that.
Can we talk about Big Mac's terrible poetry for a minute?
He tries, bless him.
He
His
tried.
His poetry's just awful.
I mean, to be fair, they're meant to be riddle clues, not necessarily poems. Sugar Belle was even worse, though,
Yeah,
because
she
one
wasn't
word-
even trying.
one word per slip of paper. I get where she was coming from, but come
But the thing is, well, we on the outside are like, what the hell are you doing to each other? Because they were both as bad as each other, both of them probably
That
would have loved
sounds
it.
incredibly awkward.
Like, for us, like, seeing this shit is like, what are you thinking? But for each of them, it would have been perfect. Because they're both terrible.
I just, I'm sure that would make them feel just fantastic. Imagine saying that, like, if you were, like, imagine if you were, like, there to give, like, a best man speech at that wedding and you said that, just like, yeah, watching all that shit happen from the sidelines, I couldn't help but think, yeah, what are you guys thinking? But then I realized for them it would be perfect because they're just terrible. Yeah, that'll go over great for the crowd, won't it?
Honestly, that sounds like the typical best man speech.
The best man usually roasts the groom, right?
Yeah. It's usually taking the best man.
It could have. I was about to say anyway. Big Mac has said himself he's not a pony of words, so
He doesn't usually talk a lot, but when he does, he makes sure it counts.
Yeah.
Mostly because last time he spoke a lot without meaning anything by it, he almost got.
He almost got his dick cut off, yeah.
Remember the one time Big Mac tried to dress as a woman?
Oh, dear.
Oh, don't remind me of that episode.
I never watched it. I skipped that one.
You skipped it.
Oh, so
Yes.
you skipped it like I skipped the whole yak instrument thing.
The Ovidophone. Yeah. Although Pinky
Yes,
does seem to have
I
gotten a bit
skipped
better at that.
episode.
The only episode I've ever skipped is the one where, well, partially, I watched a bit of it and I skimmed over it, but it was the one where Twilight thought Discord had placed all her friends under a spell and they hadn't because I was just cringing so hard.
I managed to watch through all of that one, though it was definitely hard to do so. But yeah. So that, any other thoughts we have on these two episodes, or shall we move on?
I think we're moving on then.
All right.
22 minutes.
Yeah, I
and
don't
to
know what
me,
to
and then Crimson will have plenty because Dennis has something he can talk about.
All right. So,
Look at the
so Tom recently did a one-off LARP session, and
yesterday.
yesterday. So it's not a continuation of a thing with like old ones and.
Well, no, they're still set in the same universe, but it was a one-off, like not part of a big event.
It's just its own little
Should be
self-contained
interesting.
thing. Different characters,
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
I wasn't me because my character is currently off trying to figure out how the big responsibility of being handed main works. Because remember, for those of you who recall, like the spirit of the entire main night people came up to me and went, "You're handed main now. Get in that ritual," and I'm trying to deal with the fallout. So, thanks. So he wasn't there. I was monstering just playing NPCs the entire time. It was there's some of the other characters, my friends playing all that were there playing. So it was the SI, the mixed race people, and the cat people, doing 2 individual missions. Both of them were looking into like old one Elder Abomination Tane that was corrupting a forest.
Oh dear.
Yes. Anyway, so the background before we got into it, I didn't go to bed the night before this because it was early in the morning. I watched How to Train Your Dragon for reasons, just because I struck with the fancy of nostalgia, and in the end, I just never fell asleep. So I was already up for a full day without rest by the time I got into that car and was driving over to the location, and would be up until like 9 p.m. that night. So I was exhausted all the day, and I kind of passed out at the end of it on my bed and slept until 1 p.m. this afternoon. So that was very long, but background, first of the 2 missions to go looking into this tainted forest was the SI first, the race of like no one's particularly defined on what they are, people. Going on their individual mission to go through the forest, find some magical MacGuffin, and see if they can do anything about it. As a monster, I was playing a variety of NPCs they had to contend with. First, they just told us to play some generic forest animals because they were in the non-tamed part yet. They needed like all of us but one to be wolves wolves, and one of us to be an elk that's going to be murdered by the wolves. And since I was the only non-she of all the rest of the monsters were all play she characters, I was the only non-she monstering at that point, so they automatically voted me as the to be eaten for that reason.
Ouch.
Racism.
Racism. Casual
Which
racism
I
going
saw.
on here.
So yeah, that was just how it started. I played an elk a couple of times, got horribly murdered and eaten while the player character walked through and tried not to look at it.
Question:
After,
How do
yeah.
you LARP as an elk?
By run and getting eaten. That's about all it runs up to.
Whoa.
I don't
Noble
remember.
sacrifice, my friend.
I wouldn't exactly call it a sacrifice. At one point, at one of the lives I did, I even acted out running over to the. Oh look! It's like people. Let's see if they'll help me. And some of them wanted to, but the leader's like, no, leave it, move on. And then watched as I got torn to shreds again. Assholes. After that, we were playing these druidic type NPCs that were much more friendly, like the Guardians of a Bridge. They just had to give a drop of blood as tribute to gain passage. They did it eventually after experimenting with just trying to press through the magical barrier for a while, then getting thrown halfway across the forest. And then we started being gradually more tainted animals, which included wolves, bears, one of us was a fox for reasons. At one point, I was a rabbit. Yeah, I wanted to play a rabbit. I was like, what if I was a rabbit? That was basically like, all right, you have one hit per location, you have one hit point. Good luck. So I kind of just crouched down somewhere, and they're like, "Hops, what do we see? Rabbit." And they were looking at me like, "What the fuck?" So one of them,
To be a wee rabbit.
the healer, our church healer, and one of the Templars, Magnus, who was there, were like, "Oh, it's the rabbit, it's so cute." Or meanwhile, one of the bigger ones just brought a hammer. I was like, "I'm gonna squish it." So went to bring down the hammer. However, this is where I proved that I was tainted because I ducked under the hammer, ran at them, and just started beating the shit out of one of them.
Karma, bitch!
Single.
I was expecting a decapitation like some.
They went full-on Monty Python rabbit.
That's no ordinary rabbit. It's the most foul, cruel, bad-tempered rodent.
Of course he did.
Christ!
So I just mauled one of them before
Warned
the
you.
hammer brought it around and whacked me with it properly. And instantly just smushed me. Yeah, no, that
Never
was fun.
threaten rabbit stew to that rabbit.
So another time when I was playing a bear at one point, one of the other bears next to me got into a.
Uh-oh.
You know how
No.
one of the ways you're meant to deal with bears is just try and act bigger than them on some breed. Magnus was trying to do that with one of the other bears. So while he was distracted doing that, I went feral, ran in, and just ganked the healer that he was meant to protect.
Whoops.
Yeah.
No.
Which one? Eventually, I got into a fight and then was slain. But they did get through there eventually. At which point, we were then playing magically dickish vines that were thorny, and the whole point is that we just when they first came, we seen docile plants, but we had a thing we could do called double entangle, which would mean that on our strike we would do 2 damage, but we would then entangle them so they couldn't do anything. We would do every few moments. We'd do 2 more damage, and the only thing that could affect us was fire. If one of them just hit us, we would go feral and just go nuts and start beating the shit out of everyone in sight. Which was fun because that was the first one they antagonized. I just jumped out, grabbed one of them, they hit me. I started hitting them quite a lot. One of the my Society friends who was taking part went down quite quickly, though eventually they attacked me with fire. Another thing we had was Thorn Dart, which every now and then we could just throw a dart at them for like 1 damage to all locations, which doesn't sound like much, but when it's happening to the same person constantly, it stacks up. Specifically, the laser friend I just mentioned had it happen to her a lot, to the point where she would go down, get healed, get up, and then immediately be hit by another one and go down again.
I bet that wasn't frustrating at all.
At one point, like, it was funny because at one point, like, towards the end of this whole segment, when there were very few vines left, like, she'd just been healed, she got up, but instead of staying with the group for protection, she kind of wandered off on her own into the middle of nowhere. I saw her do this, I just went, Thorn Dart, and she dropped again. She shouted, oh, come on! Being very indignant about it. She started calling her the Queen of Thorns.
Back again, bugger.
Another somewhat funny moment was as they were like about halfway through, as they were making their way through, one of them just turned to a fire elemental, and just every time we would lash out at him, we would just burn to a crisp. The rest of them were starting to feel quite comfortable. Like, oh yeah, we're doing this really easily. So they burned all the other ones around me, but me. I was still standing there. He moved on. The fire elemental guy had missed me and moved on. So one of the guys who was with like the group at the back turned to look at me and went, careful, there's another one here, and then proceeded to turn his back to me.
That fool!
Like an idiot. So like he turned his back to me, he's like, alright, do you want me to deal with this? And as he was saying this, I just grabbed him with like double entangle. And then just held him there for a while until the fire elemental eventually came back to him. But I held on to him so long that when I let him go, he dropped. He was on the ground and had healed, and I had all like the individual thorns roleplay pulled out of him very painfully.
Wow.
Everyone else taking the piss out of him for turning his back like an idiot.
Well deserved.
Right after calling me out as well, which seems to be a thing. Like, which it reminded me of the. Any of you remember when I was talking about another May Knight called Enris, who at one point told us, "Don't talk to the ghost because we'll instantly die," and the proceeded to immediately talk to the first ghost. Yeah, that character's dead now.
Sounds like a fun session. I wish I was part of it.
Yeah, that was that ghost one was a story from a while ago. That character's long dead now.
And then the one you recently had, but yeah, that one.
Yeah,
I'd probably die in that one.
Yeah, like so much shit happened to this character that I'm not sure I mentioned this in the story. I did tell him his death, but when they tried to bring him back, he was like, "No, don't bring me back, please, God, no. I'm at peace. Don't." But yeah, moving this event. Eventually, they managed to burn all the plants after a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. My friend getting the brunt of it, she got absolutely fucked up. And then they just came to a couple of statues, which each had like a specific thing tied to it. Like there was an owl, which you had to show some wisdom, a bull you had to show strength, etc., etc. They went for the wisdom one and managed to activate it, which would release like a spirit animal that was meant to be inside it. Only when the spirit animal was revealed, it dropped into a desiccated, half-rotten corpse because of the taint. Also, what the fuck is that?
Sorry. I couldn't
Okay.
resist.
You made him.
For context for the audience, for the last like 10 minutes while Tom has been talking, I have been slowly but surely photoshopping a thing into existence that I will now display on screen to show it off because I am more proud of it than I should be, based off of when Tom mentioned that he wanted to be a rabbit. Like he turned into a rabbit for a moment. So give me a second here. There it is. All right, let me just shrink that so it's all on screen. And
Yes,
was a very-
bugger.
yep.
I was a very violent bunny.
He was a very violent bunny, so I forgot to add blood stains to his mouth, but oh well. There you go. I turned Tom into a bunny
Tom.
for your entertainment. Shit, I lost him. Where'd I put him? Where'd I put it? Oh no, shit! Hang on a minute. I lost where I put it. Crap. Ah, there it
Anyway,
Tom, the Violent Bunny.
is. All right, carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on. Sorry. Carry on.
so yeah, the spirit animal was dead, and they figured correctly that, and all the other sections of these spirit animals, which meant to show them all the way through the forest, were all dead. There was nothing they could really do for them. At which point, like one of like the guy who plays Ramu, like the big bad shit, who's because of that he's always playing the big bad monsters. It's OC terrifying. Like he's a really big person.
Yes.
Bear, who could take a hit and deal another one, and every single hit he did would taint the players. They would be infected with the same taint the forest is, which is a really serious thing they're going to have to solve, or they could have bad things happen to them, like such as corruption, insanity, and death.
That's not good.
Deja vu.
Yeah, I mean, last time I saw someone get tainted was the character Ori, who lost his soul for a while because of it. Oh, he did not even for a while. He lost his soul. He had to steal another one.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy has had a lot of things happen to him. He's an odd one.
He's a bit of a
Ori.
case. He's a case,
he's-
is what he is. He's a case.
It's expected he's one of the vegan, aka a Viking. So, doing Viking things. But so he comes in, and the first person he immediately downs was once again my friend, who was the Queen of Thorns, who I mentioned. So she went down immediately, was tainted and on the floor. He proceeded to beat the crap out of a bunch more of them, before eventually being glued to the floor, paralyzed, and then just killed and hit a bunch. And then once paralyzed was done, he just dropped to the floor. He was done.
Oh, fuck.
From here, are they able to do anything for the taint? For the moment, they just pressed on, which included a fight up a real life hill, which was the biggest, exhausting, most pain in the ass thing in the world. Fuck hills.
Stirs, your most hated enemy and my greatest ally. You know what? If you don't have Sombra say that in the Sparkle in the Darkness sequel to some poor fat pony he has to deal with, just to be a dick, I'm going to be very disappointed in you.
Maybe
Oh,
during
that's
some of the scenes where in Toilet School. Who knows? Toilet Fast. Like, who knows? But yeah, it was just a couple more animals. There was one more thing where the Ramu player again was playing like a swarm of tainted spore, which proceeded to beat the shit out of them once again. The few remaining untainted people eventually slew it, at which point it exploded and tainted everyone in the radius. So everyone, like bar one, ended up tainted by the end of this.
Jesus.
Then they reached the big magical MacGuffin they were going over to, where they met Terra, who was like one of the guardian spirits of the forest, who was sick and dying. They're surrounded by corpses. There was a few of us played a few animals, just desperately trying to reach in, give our life forces to like help save Terra, and then not quite making it. But yeah, they managed to do a magical thing to strengthen Terra ever so slightly, but were not able to fully cure it, so they have to come back another time when they're not tainted themselves. So after this happened, like the monstering swapped, with the exception of me, who remained monstering since my character was elsewhere. Where the she, with the inclusion of Un and Magnus, because they needed a healer, would be going to do their own thing through the forest once again, looking for like this guardian spirit that could potentially help fix it. It mostly boiled down to, once again, like various infected animals, and then a couple of infected humans this time. Like at one point, when they first came across infected humans, which were all made up of like a previous team that they'd sent in to do this, and they never came back. They were like a bunch of corpses of various rangers on the floor. I was just laying there completely prone. When the healer came over to check on me, like thinking I'm just a corpse, like trying to figure out what happened, if they could save me, whatever. At which point I animated and promptly stabbed her with a massive sword. And yeah, like much to their surprise, of course. No more than her.
Holy
Which
shit, I
engaged
thought
in
you were
massive-
dead. My death was greatly exaggerated.
I was dead, though I had like a parasite inside me, like controlling me.
Feed me.
So they did that. They got injured, but they managed to heal themselves relatively well, and then continued on. Bunch more such fights you don't need to go into detail with because it's monotonous. Eventually, they got to an open field where they encountered a couple more walls, one of which I was playing, and a big kind of like an ant that had been infected with the parasite. Only this parasite was more evolved in that it would jump from limb to limb, and the creature wouldn't die unless you destroyed the parasite.
Whoa.
But you had to hit the specific limb. But if you hit that limb with a mundane attack before you could hit it, it would just jump to another limb. So they had to hit it with either like attacks that would hit every limb at once, or like had to use lucks to be lucky to hit it. So this fight went on for a while because it took them all to figure out how to kill it. Like even after exhausting hit points, it kept going and just beating them up. Eventually, they managed to figure out and used some luck abilities to manage to nick it. At which point, upon death, like a character called Darpaka, who's one of the she, got the killing blow. At which point, it like puked up some of its essence, which just hit him square in the face. And
Ew.
even though the medic, like the healer, went to examine him, and upon exam, like, oh yeah, he's fine, he's totally fine, he can't detect any sort of illness or injury. And since we were monitoring, the ref told us he has a parasite egg in him.
Oh.
Oh, Jesus.
They proceeded to fight another 2 of such creatures, except they were bears, but the same kind of parasite in them, on the way up, to more people getting infected, that being Ramu himself, and then one other she.
Oh, no.
And then they reached, like, this, one of the more minor spirits of this forest, who would only take them to the big one if they, like, did perform the test. This thing is a snake, mind you. The test was, there is a dying, sick, middle-aged man, played by yours truly, and an elk that is young, completely healthy, just peacefully grazing in a forest clearing. The only way to heal the man was to take the heart's blood of the elk. And basically, it was a question, do you kill the elk to save the man, or leave the man to die and preserve the elk? Now, it was a mixed bag. Some people killed the elk. Ramu went in as like, alright, what species is the man? Human. Alright, fuck him then. And just left. So
Racism.
yes, Ramu doesn't like anyone else but Ramu. And maybe she sometimes, if it's a particular she. I remember, like, on the healer tried to do a smart, because she realized that the only thing that needed to heal me was the heart's blood, and also all blood is heart's blood, because all blood pumps through the heart. So it's kind of redundant titling. So she just knocked out the elk and was going to take the blood, because she has surgery, she can extract some of the blood without harming the elk ultimately, and save the person. And
Did that work?
we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, boy.
Another Magnus, meanwhile, Magnus was the most interesting because he decided that any heart's blood would do, so he decided to sacrifice himself by plunging a knife into his own heart. Never mind who would administer the heart's blood.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Never mind who would administer the heart's blood.
I think what that probably is he just looked around at the fact that his world was on the verge of ending and just said, fuck it, I'm out. Stab.
Never mind
I
that.
will secure myself.
Never mind that one. It was Elk's heart's blood he needed, and also who would even administer the heart's blood to the dying man since he just killed himself. But luckily, this was all an illusion anyway, so nothing happened.
That is a dumb man.
Yeah.
A very dumb decision.
The alpaca put the man out of his misery. Another she hit the elk with a hammer. and they were like, they were saying it was a mixed bag. Ultimately, the correct answer was you meant to let nature take its course by leaving the man to die and preserving the elk. So Magnus passed for reasons, even though we're like, what? That was the stupidest thing he could have done. And Un, despite what we all thought was the most moral and the smartest decision, and like just because it would leave both alive, failed.
Oh,
Because the snake was very rigid in its want of an answer. It wanted you to leave the man to die, and that was like the specific thing it wanted. And so it wasn't looking for morality or smarts. So anyone who ultimately saved the man in any way failed, which it probably should have guessed that since it's a snake, so it's not entirely trustworthy. Like and Un is vindicated in her hatred of snakes and other lizards. But anyone who failed was bitten by the snake and given something called spirit poisoning.
Oh, jeez.
Which is like taint, but 10 times worse.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear.
10 times worse than taint. Oh, boy. I don't even know what taint does, but I know it's bad.
Basically, it means their soul's decaying.
Oh, jeez. And so what's 10 times worse than that?
No, that's what the spirit poisoning is.
Oh. Alright. That's horrible.
Like the taint, you're decaying. With soul poisoning, your soul's decaying.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
So that was the thing they had to deal with. They then moved on. So I'm pretty disgruntled over this outcome because again, like we all were in agreement that Un's pragmatically and morally Un's answer was the best, but the fact that she failed was entirely due to the snake being a little shit and untrustworthy as anything. But they then moved. They encountered the guardian spirit, who was very weak and decrepit. He gave them some choices what they could do. They could do nothing, which, however, I said was a dumb choice. Don't do this, or you're the worst. One of the characters could replace it as the guardian spirit, which would fix everything, but that character would be gone forever. They would have to make a new one. Or they could do a bunch of really convoluted tasks in order to repower this guardian. And in return, if they all swore oaths as well, he would heal the spirit taint. There required 3 of them to swear oaths, since half the party that didn't pass were unconscious. They ultimately chose that option because they didn't want to lose their characters. Only 2 of them swore the oath, which means it was only 2/3 healed. The spirit taint isn't as bad, but it's still there, and it's going to grow back into what it was and then progress again. So they still have to deal with it. They just bought them some time. And with them in excruciating pain and screaming as they were dragged out because of the spirit taint still hurts like a bastard, that's where their linear ended. After which we went for a Chinese buffet.
After which we went to a Chinese buffet.
Yes.
All right. Fascinating.
Nice.
Fascinating. Well, that leaves us with about 12 minutes left for Darkness to talk to us about Crimson. Anything new in the adventures of that fun little red dragon?
A lot. But
you've got 10 minutes, so don't get too into it, and don't leave us on a... So, yeah.
Oh,
Keep that in
don't
mind, you
worry.
got 10 minutes.
Yes, I'm aware. So, quickest recap ever. Miriam cleaned himself up. Crimson got in a fight with a guy known as Captain Noble. The fight was broken up by his superior, which reveals to be Maya, Crimson's old friend / guardian, which explains the mothering attitude that she has towards her. And of course, they told stories, which then she tried the frickin' dragon fruit drink again. She failed, even though she didn't want to fail because she doesn't want to fail the fruit. After a few little bits of mocking, she got fed up and decided now to walk along into town to try to shake it off and get her head back on straight. While she was walking through town, she noticed a strange man with clothing and a staff who started to have complete awe at Crimson and even a closer look at her. Why so glum, dragon? Get out my way. Oh, come on. There's no need to be so mean. You don't look too well. Why do you care? Healer? You can't heal me of my conflictions. And what confliction would that be? Doesn't concern you. Oh, I think it does. Aren't you the same dragon who was all happy, laughing and giddy one moment, then you try to kill your fellow companion the next day? But instead you dropped him in a big pile of, okay, how do you know that? Word gets around. This town is pretty small compared to wherever you've been. Look, if you want my help, I am here. Well, how can you help me? What's the problem? Is it to do with these mood strings of yours? I drink a drink. It causes weird effects. And what are the ingredients? Just a bunch of random fruit, but everyone thinks it's dragon fruit. Hey, you drink fruit. I thought dragons only eat meat. You can't resist the taste. Shut it. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You're trying something new. New is always good. Not when it gives me a headache. But you can't stay off the stuff. You're hooked on it, aren't you? Are you here to help or to mock?
Crimson is addicted.
Okay.
I love this. She is a drug addict, red dragon. There are so many things magnificent about this, and I love every bit of it.
Yeah, me too. Anywho. So, I need to know, what other side effects do you have? I literally lose control over my mind and body's actions. And I will not suffer any more near subordination to a bloody fruit. So if you can fix me, I will be grateful. Okay. Is it possible that you would... I take that stare that you don't want to taste it in front of me. It's okay. I can just use my magic to see what's wrong with you. Now don't move. Nothing's happening. Oh, it's a sort of spell you don't really notice. I'm just trying to figure out what is wrong with you, so please don't interrupt me. Okay. Well, get on with it. I think you may be suffering a very rare little default in your... What do they call it? DNA makeup thing. Yes. You may have selenosis. What? Selenosis. Never heard of it, because it's so rare. This is ridiculous. I have it in this book. Selenosis, an effect that may cause a certain creature a little bit of default by eating certain fruits or consuming certain forms of liquid. May result in many different forms of effects depending on the creature, but it is known to happen to a small little DNA flaw. I mean, to be fair, you do look smaller than an actual red dragon. I'm still bigger than you, and I will still eat you. Good point. But all I'm saying is, this seems to be the problem. And is there a cure for a DNA, whatchamacallit, flaw? There is. It requires one potion and one spell. That's all it requires. No, we're not doing both of those things. My dear, if we do not do both, then you won't have the full effect. It'd be pointless. Do you want it gone, or want it to stay with you as a burden? Remove it. But it better not be unpleasant. About that.
Oh no.
The concoction you will drink, it doesn't give you any bad side effects, but it is rancid. It will taste awful. I taste worst. Okay. Give me a moment to prepare. No peeking, please, madam. Wait over there.
Conman's senses
not-
are tingling. This just reeks of a con artist.
After an hour of waiting, he finally came out with a concoction. Right. This is what you do. You drink this first, and then I will cast a spell to make sure that your conflictions is no longer on you. Understand? Why do you need to do it in that specific order? Can't we just get it over with now? No. The potion needs to take effect. And make sure you drink every single drop. Every drop.
Did no one ever tell Crimson not to talk to strangers?
You weren't kidding. It was acid. Don't chuck it up. Swallow it. Swallow it, my dear.
Oh god, there's a sentence just popped into my head. I'm not saying it, but oh god, oh no. Oh.
We all know it.
Best not.
Yep, we all know it. We all know it.
Yeah. Now the spell. Okay, dear, just close your eyes. Why? Do you want to be blind? It's a very bright spell. You need to close your eyes, my dear. Because I don't think I'd be able to clear your blindness up. Some kind of healer. Now. Hold still. You're done. What the hell was that? You're done. It felt like you hit me with that stick. Nope, I did not. Now, please, madam, I have much business to do. We're done here. Do I even owe you nothing? No. Free of charge. You must think I'm crazy to charge you. You're a fucking dragon. If I take your loot, you eat me or burn me down. Fair enough. Now, come on, move it. I have business to attend to. Enjoy your day.
Oh, many red flags are flying and fluttering in the breeze right now.
She finally met up with the others, which she seemed okay and fine, but she hasn't had a chance to actually test the drink out yet. She wanted to wait to see if it actually worked. And once everyone was around, she started to drink it. Everyone looked nervous, except for Maya. She was actually intrigued to see what happens next. She drank the whole lot. No effect. It seemed to work like a charm. See, I can't get over it. I have overcome my affliction. Oh, but I wanted to see how silly you get, dear. You might even go into song like you used to back at the village. Wait, what? Crimson had a wonderful... Now, don't let her look fool you. She has a wonderful singing voice. Shut up, shut up, shut up.
I'm loving this.
Wait, you mean to tell them that you mean to tell me that she never told you she used to sing? Oh no, this is the first we heard of it. What is wrong with you? It does not matter. My complexion is cured, and I am just ignoring what you say, because nothing's going to dampen my day. And it's at this point where Crimson felt normal, then started to feel like she just got hit by a ton of bricks. Her body started to ache, and even felt a bit weary.
Trade one affliction for another.
She tried to walk forward, only for her to pass out.
Uh-oh.
At this point, everyone panicked and started running until the strangest thing happened. Not only was she in pain, her body even began to flash.
Oh, well, that's no bueno.
Which, at this point, the session ended, but they did come back to it because of their lunch break, and I just want to end it off here because, holy shit, this was not what I was expecting. When she did wake up in her bed, apparently she was knocked out for 2 days. She felt very frail and weak and still achy, with only Mirren in the room with a very nervous look. But when she looked around the room, she noticed it was different. There were no mirrors in sight, and Mirren is just standing by the door, nervous. What the fuck just happened? Good thing you're awake. Where's all the mirrors? About that.
Not dragging anymore.
And unfortunately, as he was panicking to put the mirrors away, she saw a glimpse of a mirror in the cupboard. I'm just gonna go downstairs and let the others know you're awake. And on cue, as soon as he got down the stairs, all they heard was things being smashed and Crimson screaming, "I'm gonna kill that fucking old man! How dare he!" Well, she's awake. And she's not happy. Well, would you be happy? Explain to me, where's the old man that dared turn me into a fucking human?
And on that note, that's where we have to end it, because we're at the hour mark. So, oh boy, that'll be fun to get back to. All right. So,
Yeah.
thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in to this episode of Jibber Jabber. We will see you next time. Keep listening until then, people. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Crimson is a human!